Did you know Alice Cooper once daily drove a Dodge Challenger? When he's not melting faces on stage, the godfather of shock rock is tearing up Arizona streets in some of the wildest muscle cars ever built. The man once bought a Shelby Mustang on the same day he got sober, calling it his first clean high. His garage growls with attitude and old-school American grit. Every engine in there tells a story of rebellion, redemption, and pure adrenaline. Buckle up. We'll be taking you for a ride through Alice Cooper's ultimate classic car collection in today's video. 1966 Ford Mustang Shelby. The ride that really cranks up the volume in Alice Cooper's collection is the 1966 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 350. Now, this isn't just your average Mustang. This particular Mustang isn't just a fastback. It's the Shelby GT 350, a fire-breathing legend built by Carroll Shelby himself. Think of it like the rock and roll version of a Mustang. Back in the mid-60s, this thing was the go-to choice for anyone with a need for speed and a taste for rebellion. It came with a high-performance 289 cubic inch V8, pushing a wild 306 horsepower. Alice's GT 350 had no power steering, no air conditioning, nothing fancy, just raw power and that unmistakable fastback silhouette. It's a driver's car, plain and simple. The design is all muscle, racing stripes, aggressive stance, and a deep, throaty exhaust note that makes your spine tingle. It screams performance from every angle. The car only has 35,915 original miles on the clock. It's been Cooper's go-to ride for casual trips to the mall, date nights, and, believe it or not, golf games. Interestingly, his golf clubs fit perfectly in the trunk. Underneath the nostalgia and chrome, the GT 350 represents the peak of the pony car revolution. Ford was refining the Mustang by '66 with better suspension, sharper handling, and custom packages that let you personalize your ride. But Shelby? He skipped the frills and went straight for performance. That's why this car still holds its own today, because it wasn't built for luxury. It was built to rip. Inside, it's all about the essentials. Bucket seats that hug you in all the right places, that iconic dash layout, and the optional rally pack cluster with a tack and clock that scream race day. Moreover, it had the classic vinyl upholstery, simple, sleek, and durable. Even the deluxe pony interior with embossed galloping horses gives the cabin a little extra attitude. With that V8 paired to a 4-speed manual, it hits 0 to 60 in under 8 seconds. That might not sound like a modern supercar, but in '66, that was smoking fast, and it'll hit over 120 miles per hour if you've got the guts and the straightaway to match. Handling is tight. The ride is firm, responsive, and engaging. You feel every bit of the roar, and that's the point. This isn't some bloated cruiser. It's a bare-knuckle brawler that delivers a raw, visceral experience. No screens, no sensors, no autopilot. Just you, the road, and that howling V8 soundtrack behind the wheel. This is just the beginning. If you're loving this ride through Alice Cooper's jaw-dropping collection, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive videos like this. 1968 Bullitt Mustang Replica. Just when you think Alice can't top the GT 350, bam! He goes full Hollywood with a 1968 Bullitt Mustang Replica. Inspired by Steve McQueen's legendary fastback from Bullitt, this car takes cool to a whole new level. Finished in dark Highland green, stripped of badging, sitting on those iconic American racing torque thrust wheels, this thing looks like it just roared off the streets of San Francisco. Cooper wanted it to be reliable, no overheating, and practical enough to drive every day. So it's packing all the modern goodies: coilover suspension, Willwood power disc brakes, power steering, and a killer air conditioning system. This is a Bullitt Mustang that actually works in real life, not just on film. Under the hood, a burly 390 cubic inch V8, same as the movie car. It's got that deep growl that shakes your bones when you fire it up. Alice wanted it with a twist, though he kept the automatic transmission because he's more interested in enjoying the ride than wrestling with a clutch pedal in traffic. But don't worry, it still hauls. That V8 moves this beast with the kind of urgency that'd make McQueen grin. Inside, The Bullitt vibes are strong. Wood grain dash, Cobra-badged 3-spoke steering wheel, and even a full-length center console to match the original. It's got that old-school charm, but everything's been tightened up and rebuilt. A nut-and-bolt restoration kind of deal. No rattles, no leaks, no drama. Alice even asked for a CD player. Yes, a CD player. Why? Because other musicians still send him demo discs, and he likes to listen to them on his drives. That's the most rock star thing ever. Everyone's streaming, and Cooper's rolling down the road with a stack of CDs and a 390 V8 soundtrack in the background. Unreal. He loved this car so much that he featured it on the cover of his latest album. Just like the movie version, this Mustang has the stance, the growl, and the presence to back it all up. It's not some museum piece. It's built to drive hard. The suspension's tight, the exhaust snarls, and the wheels grip like a vice. You could throw this thing into a turn and come out the other side grinning like a maniac. 1963 Studebaker Avanti. The 1963 Studebaker Avanti is arguably one of the most misunderstood, most futuristic American cars ever made. And who better to own such a car than the godfather of shock rock himself, Alice Cooper? Designed in just 8 weeks by Raymond Loewy, the guy behind some of the most iconic designs of the 20th century, the Avanti was Studebaker's Hail Mary pass. They were on the ropes financially, and they needed something bold, something that screamed performance, innovation, and style. What they came up with was this radical, grille-less, Coke bottle-shaped coupe that looked like it came straight out of a sci-fi movie. Under the hood, it had a 289 cubic inch V8. Now, if you opted for the R2 version supercharged from the factory, that thing could haul. We're talking 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds in 1963. Some tuned versions hit over 170 miles per hour on the Bonneville Salt Flats. Front disc brakes? Factory roll bar? They were thinking way ahead of their time. Alice Cooper got his hands on a white one with a turquoise interior classic combo. But here's where it gets spicy. Rumor has it that this Avanti was once used in a sting operation to catch a Soviet spy. No joke. Alice bought it in Phoenix, and some old retired FBI guy saw it and swore it was the same car from a 1965 spy bust. Naturally, Cooper leaned into the story. He joked about putting in a hidden table and stashing a Walther PPK like a James Bond ride with an American twist. But Alice didn't just leave it sitting in a garage. The man actually drove this Cold War cruiser. He said the car perfectly represents his personality. Unique, misunderstood, powerful, and just a little bit strange. Sounds about right. That wasn't the end of the Avanti story for Alice either. He later went full resto mod on it. Totally modernized under the skin. Out went the old V8. In went a 320 horsepower Corvette LT1 motor, tuned by Arizona TPI. Pair that with an automatic overdrive transmission and a classic low-car shifter, and you've got a sleeper that'll light up the tires like a 4th of July burnout contest. Vintage air AC, power windows, odometer gauges, digital audio screen. This wasn't just a rebuild. This was Alice Cooper customizing a Cold War legend into a 21st century muscle machine. The exhaust? Growls like a demon. 1961 Chevrolet Corvette. Now, we're rolling back the clock just a bit further, to a time when Elvis was still in Hollywood and gas was 31 cents a gallon. The 1961 Corvette. That's the year it started to get that aggressive rear-end styling and ditched the rounded trunk look. This baby was a bridge between the first gen and the Stingray years to come. Alice Cooper picked one up during the early years of his fame. Not just any vet. This was an ermine white roadster with a cherry red interior. Matching numbers too. Under the hood, the classic 283 cubic inch V8 mated to a smooth-as-butter Powerglide transmission. It was the kind of car that looked good, parked at the beach, and blasting down Woodward Avenue on a summer night. He didn't just keep it around as eye candy. Alice drove this thing for over 6 years. He put real miles on it, enjoyed it like a real car guy does. Eventually, he retired it to his growing fleet of American muscle. But the story wasn't over yet. In 2010, this rockstar's vet crossed the auction block in Australia at Shannon's Melbourne Winter Classic. To sweeten the pot, Alice threw in a signed white Fender Squier guitar. A collector's dream. 3 fenders, the 2 on the car, and the 1 you plug into an amp. You can't script it better than that. The Corvette was in excellent condition. Refurbished shocks, brakes, and tires. It was ready to drive. Everything worked, minus a few bugs with the power soft top. Estimated to sell between $70,000 and $80,000. It hammered for 78,000 Australian dollars, about 65,000 US dollars. A solid number, but when you factor in the rock and roll pedigree. 2019 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. Under that aggressive twin snorkel hood of the 2019 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat, you've got a 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 that's belting out 717 horsepower. Torque? A pavement-twisting 656 pound-feet. That's enough pull to yank your fishing boat, trailer, and half the lake if you're not careful. Drop the clutch, stomp the gas, and this monster rockets from 0 to 60 in a scorching 3.4 seconds. It's got a top speed of 199 miles per hour, which, let's be real, is way faster than you'll ever go unless you're drag racing on the Bonneville Salt Flats or trying to outrun your midlife crisis. Now, what makes this Hellcat extra special? For one, it's not just a straight-line bully. Thanks to its adaptive suspension and standard Brembo brakes, the size of dinner plates, it's got some manners too, at least until you poke it with a stick. Then, it becomes pure chaos. It's the kind of ride that reminds you why we fell in love with cars in the first place. It growls at idle, howls under load, and that supercharger whines. That's the siren song of horsepower junkies. Alice's Hellcat doesn't just look fast either. It's wide, low, and mean. If Darth Vader drove American muscle, this would be it. The optional wide-body package flares those fenders to make room for even wider tires, because 717 horsepower needs all the rubber it can get. Those 20-inch brass monkey wheels? Just icing on the devilish cake. Inside, it's not all stripped-down race car nonsense. Alice gets to enjoy ventilated and heated leather seats, a fat chunk of tech with the 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreen, and enough room in the trunk to haul a decent amp setup if the rock and roll urge strikes. Don't sleep on the tech goodies either. Launch assist and line lock help you light them up properly without burning a hole in your wallet with new tires every month. It's got drive modes, launch control, even a real-deal 6-speed Tremec manual if Alice wants to row his gears like a true outlaw. Of course, there's an 8-speed automatic that shifts faster than your cousin's mouth at a family barbecue. But the manual? That's where the soul lives. 2003 Ford Mustang Mach 1. Back in 2003, Ford decided it was time to bring back a name that hadn't been seen in a quarter century. The original Mach 1 debuted in '69, packing serious heat under the hood, and the 2003 version was all about channeling that same attitude for a new era. Ford didn't just slap on some stripes and call it a day. This thing got its own 305 horsepower 4.6-liter DOHC V8, yanked from the Cobra's family tree, minus the supercharger, but still ferocious. That shaker hood, like in Alice's own, was not just for looks. It's functional. It feeds cool air straight into the intake, just like it did back in the glory days. And yeah, it even uses the original tooling from the 60s. Now, the numbers don't lie. 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, and the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds, at 102.5 miles per hour. That's moving for a sub-30K coupe back in the day. The Mach 1 slid right between the GT and the fire-breathing SVT Cobra in Ford's lineup, giving enthusiasts a sweet spot with more juice than the GT, but without the $35,000 price tag of the Cobra. On the outside, it flexes with retro muscle, black front splitter, rear spoiler, and striping, straight out of the 70s playbook. Even the wheels tried to bring back the magic with a modern take on the Magnum 500s. Now, do they match the depth and presence of the originals? Not quite. Ford admitted that adding deeper rims would have created steering issues. But hey, it's the thought that counts. Inside, the Mach 1 continues the nostalgia trip. Leather seats with comfort weave, inserts nod to the classic look. And the instrument cluster is a modern reimagining of the old, dark-faced gauges. The aluminum shifter feels solid in your hand, and if you opted for the metal pedal package, it adds even more visual pop. It's retro done right, with just the right amount of modern. What makes this ride even more compelling is that, for once, Ford didn't make it a one-color limited edition. You could grab a Mach 1 in white, black, red, yellow, blue, or a menacing dark gray. Only 7,500 were built, and with over 5,900 spoken for early on, it was clear folks were eager to get their hands on one. 2017 Maserati GranTurismo convertible. Alice Cooper may have made his mark in shock rock, but the man clearly appreciates elegance with muscle, and this Maserati fits that bill perfectly. Let's talk numbers first. Under that sculpted hood lives a Ferrari-sourced 4.7-liter V8, delivering 444 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. That's pure Italian firepower, routed through a 6-speed ZF automatic transmission, driving the rear wheels like God intended. 0 to 60, a very respectable 4.6 seconds. Quarter mile, around 13.1 seconds at 109.2 miles per hour. The car weighs over 4,100 pounds, but you wouldn't know it by the way it handles. The Skyhook adaptive damping system keeps it composed in corners and comfy over bumps. When you engage sport mode, the whole car transforms. The throttle sharpens up, the exhaust opens, and suddenly, that once polite engine belts out a growl that would make Enzo Ferrari smile. Now step inside. This is where Maserati really flexes. You get a handcrafted interior bathed in leather, wood, and available carbon fiber. Everything is touchable, stitched, and finished like a fine Italian suit. There's even an interior carbon package that wraps the cabin in carbon accents, from the paddle shifters to the instrument cluster surround. The black leather steering wheel, trimmed in carbon, feels race-ready. Even the pedals are aluminum with MC styling cues, details that scream bespoke performance. The 10-way heated power seats up front are sculpted like they belong in a luxury yacht, but they hold you firm in the twisties. The rear seats? They're better than you'd expect from a 2+2 convertible, but still best saved for short hops. Still, for Cooper and a guest, it's the perfect setup. Top down, sun out, engine purring, and the wind styling that iconic black hair. Safety-wise, Maserati loaded this beauty up. You've got adaptive HID headlights that follow the curves, parking sensors front and rear, LED daytime runners, and a traction stability control system called the Maserati Stability Program. Now sure, it lacks some of the newer driver assist tech you see on budget sedans these days. But let's be honest, you don't buy a GranTurismo to have it drive itself. You buy it because it makes you feel alive every time you slide behind the wheel. This car is Maserati's Halo model. It doesn't share parts with any Chrysler or Fiat leftovers. This is purebred Italian, made before the big mergers watered everything down. It rides on a platform shared with the Quattroporte sedan, but in drop-top form, it's all about presence. Long, low, and dripping with curves, it looks every bit the part of a six-figure Grand Tourer. That's it for today's video. If you dig classic cars with rockstar stories, smash that subscribe button and join our channel. We've got more legendary machines and wild rides from celebrities and beyond. So buckle up and stay tuned.